You can share your thing.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
if I have to brief you about the organization,
Yeah.
right now we are 70 membered employees,
Okay.
where we have one CEO and a COO, and we have the other leadership team, which comprises of the vice president, president, and various levels.
Okay.
And currently we have an active project running in Indore. It's a 500 TPD biogas plant. And in addition, we are adding on in Bhopal and Hyderabad. So we are hiring right now seriously on all those things. So we are expanding very fast because of the growth in projects. That's a requirement. One. If I have to talk about the team, it's spread across India. It's not centralized. It's a Bangalore-based company. It was a clean tech company, and then it evolved into projects and EPC setting ups and all that. So now we are expanding in terms of EPC projects and O&M projects. So that is what we are currently now. So as the projects are expanding, we are having a huge hiring process for engineers, senior engineers, and various positions pertaining to that in the design team and the projects team. So there comes in a lot of travel requirement and HR related requirements for the team. So right now we do not have any policies pertaining to HR in terms of travel or a performance management system or nothing. So to start with, travel is the first challenge, because we have to have the levels first in place and then the travel policy in place. And as we are hiring, we are also having a challenge in terms of once the candidate is onboarded, what we need to provide to them.
Okay, good.
Travel, all those things comes in place. So either there is a clash between the travel and the relocation, what we have to offer to the candidates and all that.
Okay, well, the kind of relocation in the sense that is during when they are joining the organization or after they join the organization?
Once when they join. Other challenges when there is a project O&M setup, after the setting up of O&M, few of the project managers will be moved to the new project. So there also what we need to provide them is one more challenge we are having.
Okay, right. And the three files you sent, what was the backlash in those files?
One had the information about the company,
the
organization, the team, what we are, and all that. Just to have you, for you to have an idea before. The other two files were the draft which we made based on the existing structure.
Okay.
So, yeah. In terms of the travel policy, the leadership team felt that we should expand more. It should be a little more in terms of a B-funded company was the opinion for the travel policy.
So again, I lost you. Can you repeat it?
No, in terms of the travel policy, there was an opinion that it needs to be little more better, and somehow it was not approved.
Okay.
The exact feedback I got was we should work more like a B-funded company by the management.
Okay. Right. Okay. So now what do you want from me?
Sir, my challenge is right now I've been given as a HR role. I'm the only person who is actually taking care of recruitment, post-recruitment, and in terms of employee relations, all that is happening simultaneously. They want everything together. The challenge I'm having is, if there is one thing I can do, if I have to work only on policies, I will be able to, do some justice to it.
Okay.
But currently, we have just added 2 more members at the hiring front, but I can't leave them alone because they need my support. I'm getting into interview scheduling, talking to the project managers across India, getting hiring requirements. Adanala, I'm not able to do justice. And idila I'm not able to focus. But this is my priority. So with the time given to me, I was able to draft.
So you want support on policy, right?
Yes.
On the dot. See, when it comes to policy, there are two ways. One is planning about the policy. That is the total process evolution.
Okay.
And second, making it into a draft or making it into a document.
Okay.
See, the second part you have already done. You have done something. I mean, whether it's right, wrong, nothing. See, you would have also done kind of a research, or you would have scanned through many inputs from across the world, and you would have done it. So taking all justice to whatever work you have done, I take it from that point, right? So I'm now going to teach you about how to create a draft or thing. Maybe what I'll do is, out of my 34 years of experience and being, across various industries, various, kind of work, right from IT, ITES, brick and mortar, and manufacturing, also in projects, right? So I'll give you my pointers, based on which you see how much is it aligning with your existing document. Or if it is not, then how to align it, that you try to do it. See, that would be the best way to guide, because you are also experienced by now. So I cannot take you in a normal, that's the reason I said I don't have any other person when we talk.
Okay.
So let us be threadbare thinking on it, right? Okay. So
sure,
that means you need not share anything. I will show some 1 or 2 slides, which I have, and I just picked up from my portfolio, like whatever, if I mean this one, a policy or a travel policy, because travel policy is essential for every organization, be it manufacturing or projects, or whatever oriented thing, it's important part. And that is one which is much more relished by employee, because it has a money linked to it. It's almost a contribution towards your package, so that it's vital. Normally, that is the reason in US they would ask you, like, how much mobile are you, when they are recruiting itself. And they will also plan, like, of your 25 days of working days, or 20-day working days, 10 days you would be here, and another 15 days you have to be traveling. So travel is important. So, and especially for an organization like yours, which is onto projects, it is very much required, right? So I'll share this. Let me see how much you take it up with it. One second. Can you see my screen? I'll also put it in slideshow.
I can see.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Nice. So this one is more important. I just picked up all the pointers for you. See, the more important part in any travel policy is per diem, or the exact expense, which they call it as reimbursements. Okay. So per diem has its own allowances and tolerances. Similarly, expenses also has its own tolerances and applicabilities. So based on which only travel is being normally planned. It has a travel expense, it has a lodging expense when it crosses a particular time limit. That is the pointer on which it is being done. And the limits are like you have time or distance or exigency, based on which you have to plan this, be it for the cost reimbursements. Then coming on to the local travel. See, local travel is always taken on an oversight. They think it is it is easily done. No, but when you do it at a certain frequency, local travel is also a money consuming activity, time consuming activity. So the person who's being used, onto this is always stressed, because there is something called, in local travel, we don't consider the road conditions, we don't consider your climate conditions, we don't consider the health condition of the employee, we don't consider the distances, many things we don't consider. Even now, we don't consider. I just say distance. But distance on a normal day is different. A distance on a hardship day, especially in Indore. I have stayed in Indore. I have worked in Pithampur. So I know about, I was in HM there. Okay, so I know about what kind of a climate it is. It is dead cold in the nights. It will freeze you. And in the early morning, in the daytime, it will be roasted. You will have both the extreme of conditions. And the food is also different. When you make people move from one location to another, setting up themselves is another part of a difficulty. Another more is, Indore is almost like Bombay in its cost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not easy as you think about it. It has both poshness and the poverty. Both are there in, Indore. So if you take, I mean, let me not limit myself to Indore, because Madhya Pradesh is again wide, right from Bhopal to, anywhere touching towards Nasik. If you move, each location has its own plus and minus. So let me then go with the pointers rather than with the specifics. I'm not going to give you any specifics because, every time costs differently in each location. Okay, so I'll leave it to you. And when you take travel, it is distance limit, and it should not be an overnight stay. Then only we call it as a local travel.
Okay.
And non-local travel is you have a distance limit on a one way you take, but no overnight stay or overnight stay. There are two different classifications that exist. Then again, coming out of the reimbursements, either you pay or the employee gets an allowance and then advance, and then he goes and spends and he comes and settles it. Be whatever situation it is. We normally call it as two ways. While traveling, it's called a fuel expense and a food expense. Okay. Fuel, we mean he's not going to drink it, so he's going to put it onto a vehicle. So the vehicle can be of his own or a hired one. So based on which we give the variations, and that too again on a time rate or a distance rate. Okay. And here, when it comes to vehicle, I'll cover it later. There are many other intricacies like insurance is there. There is a maintenance requirement is there. Each vehicle will have a different capacity of running, the mileage, kilometer per hour it will give. So all these differences are there. Okay. Then coming on to the food expenses. Each food, as the time varies, it has its own incremental value and decremental value, like breakfast, dinner, lunch, or whatever snacks you have, everything, because an employee has to take. He has to be healthy to survive. We cannot compromise on that, and we cannot reduce it. And never we should, reduce this factor, because he is the one who is talking about us, and he is our point of contact to the customer or for our operations. So we need to take consideration of it. Then coming on to the miscellaneous part, like tax, tolls, tips, supports, whatever you give has to be covered by the organization. We cannot say it cannot be done, but at what limit? And if you want to have a limit, then you should know what is the exact values. So unless you know what is the exact value, how many tolls are there and how many, if he's going by a vehicle, even with 3-4 people, and suddenly a cop catches them for some or other reason, they have to bribe him and go, and which is normally, you have been in India, So these are cost, it's not regular, but it happens, and you don't have any kind of receipt for it. So you have to include that also into it. Then coming on to the lodging. Lodging need not be specific at what class of eat they have, but they have to cover themselves and stay. So again, lodging stage, varies from places. Then coming on to the meals. Meals, again, it is payable to the employee. Okay, it covers the meals. It includes tips, taxes, whatever I've said earlier also, but excludes alcoholic beverages, entertainment and expenses. But this alcoholic beverage, when you have a customer, you cannot say no. Or when you are going for in a business meet, you cannot say no. Okay, so there's an exception. So whenever you have some exclusions or exceptions, then there should be a person who has to authorize it or to check it. Okay, so you need to have this thing into place, and then you have to have the cleanliness and the laundry and all those stuff, because this guy should not be stinking all around. As he travels, now he picks up heats, and those conditions of weather will make him sweat, and you need to, he projects us, so he needs to be clean. So you need to give him some kind of a support for his well-being. And then the transportation in between, you cannot expect that he gets from an airport or a railway station and goes to his house or a room walking. Not possible. And again, about the auto walas and how they talk about the rate. So you should also consider all these stuff. Okay, these are the things which are not stable. Why I mean to say is, you cannot say I'll give you only 1,000 rupees per day. I mean, for the total expense, travel or anything, right? You need to also have some kind of a clarity. Then comes on the mileage. Mileage is, if you have a vehicle, what happened is, you should go on with whether it is a cell-phone vehicle, because people normally have their brother's vehicle or wife's vehicle or somebody's vehicle, and 2-3 people will be using it. So you have to be cautious of what do you mean by vehicle is. First, you have to have a definition for vehicle, and then the timesheet. At what time you take it and what time you drop it, and what are the distances you cover, and how is the useful age of the vehicle, because vehicle has it depreciates. Initially it will have a better mileage and better performance. As it goes, it has its own failures that could happen around it. So you need to consider that. Then the insurance part. Insurance is more important when you take a driver or a person is going to drive, because his life is in peril. The person who's driving is in peril. The person who's coming around is in peril, and life cover have to be taken, because we don't know how, when what will happen. So you need to have this coverage, because as long as people are alive, nothing will happen. But if one mishap to a life happens, it will cost multiple times of the normal expense that we would occur. Okay, so we need to be taking care of those incurrences, right? Then the standard mileage. You need to also be careful, like what is the regular distance, what is the frequency at which this distance is being traveled, and is there any permissible distance allowance? Because sometimes a traffic jam will be there, they have to route around and come. They'll be traveling around another 5 more kilometers or 10 kilometers, or even completely taking a deroute from their normal way. Then the speed allowances, then the payload, how much should be carried and how much should not be, and who should be carried and who should not be carried. So all these things should be covered in your travel. Okay. And then when you make people travel, what happens is we expect them to be on duty, but all days cannot be on duty. Suddenly there will be a break. You will have a holiday in between. There'll be a local, there'll be a kind of a stoppage of work, and these people will be asked to stay in their place. So they will try to go around. They'll vacate, do some kind of a vacation or sightseeing or whatever it is. And suddenly you will have a Sunday falling between. So along with a holiday, so they'll try to go around. They move around and find themselves and find fettle. So they also do some kind of a combining their personal work. So my brother is there, my brother-in-law is there. You go see. They are social animals. You cannot stop them. So, and they will not tell you. See, a person who comes there and who wants to go to Indore will not tell you that his relatives are there, because in Indore you have a lot of Tamil population, Telugu population. They all are there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are associations. There are big associations there. So these people are there. They will also come and seek their support, and new camaraderie will spear up. So then you have to think about, in these cases, what will be the travel, what will be the food, and what will be the stay, because that cannot be the same plank on which you can calculate it. So you need to have that variation. And then traveling from work to home, or the place where they are residing, you cannot give mileage, because that is covered in their salary pack. They have to come to work. But certain organizations, they give, for various reasons. I leave it to people to decide, because this is where the no mileage comes. And mileage is considered when there is a work. You are at home and suddenly you are asked to go to some other place. That means from home it is taken. Because why they take it from home is, he should not again count from home to office to that place. Because that will be a triangle kind of a thing. You will lose a lot of money. Instead, go from your home itself. So a point should be fixed. That's where we have this. Okay, and then coming on to travel. Travel not only happens for work. There are certain things like meeting, conferences, training, company arranged events. You will have parties and many things you will have, get-togethers, and then you push, because then only you socialize your people together. Otherwise, they'll be alien. So you need to have kind of a safe insurance, covered pooling. You combine everyone together and do it. Or these things should be planned earlier in the travel plan policy itself. Though it will be one-off, the employee should know this is the way it will be done.
Okay.
So once they know what is required, then they will behave in a better way. Otherwise, each one will say, I'll take my scooter from here to there, I drop it, and from another place, you should not leave it. So you need to have them safe and secure, because it's a project company. So safe and security of an employee is more important. So then in that case, you need to have the hire driver or the actuals which you're going to dispense with when they hire somebody or along a vehicle with which they can take it up.
Okay.
Then see, when you have Indore as your office, you will have some vehicle already in place for local assistance by the local office or corporate office or head office or whatever connecting office, project office you have. So there also you should know like what kind of a timesheet should be maintained by these people, what are the distances that are being covered, and who the locations. It is from who is picking it up. Suddenly they'll say, drop me in a temple and go, or drop me in a marriage place and go, which is not covered. We cannot say no, but at times we need to capture it. We need to capture it. And, if it is on a regular run, we have to counsel them also. See, this is, running out the company fuel, so it's not possible. So you are a important person, right? Okay, I leave it. And then coming out of the permitted people, again, who has to go? I pick my wife, my children, everyone, drop them in school, and then come. So all these things cannot be possible. So you need to have, even if it is an official vehicle, how to be done. If it is an office vehicle, how to be done. Both should be taken care in that aspect called office vehicle. Then coming on to the important part called travel approvals. Who has to approve the travel? What is the authority levels? The limits to which they can do? And the exigencies at which how the exigency should not be taken by one person. They should have a reporting line. There should be a super boss. Then only exigency can be taken. So exigency cannot be taken by a regular supervisor or a boss. Okay, you should have a super boss to do it. And similarly, there should be a 2-point check when a payment approval comes. The checks and balances have to be there. So travel is one point, and then checks and balances are another point. Okay, these are the pointers on which a normal travel policy is being evolved.
Okay, sir.
So you fit in, you see, if you can cover all these things, then means to 90-95%, your organization will be covered, irrespective of whatever they're doing.
Okay.
Whether they are on duty or not off duty, on duty, and all these stuff. That is why I've recorded so that you can have a copy of it, and you also see what else to be done and how it has to be taken. Okay. Furthermore, if you require my support, then you call me.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Up to this, I leave it to you because you should have already done some work, and let this support you in your work. Then that will be the better part.
Okay, sir.
So, I'll remove this sharing part. I think I have kept only 2 slides. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I'll stop recording and I'll send this activity to you.